Browning high-power pistol. This is a high-capacity pistol, high-capacity 9mm. One of the first 9mm high capacities that hit the design market, and actually it was the first one that was general issue to a number of different militaries. Started in Belgium, and then also went to England, and also the Canada, which was one of England's Commonwealth countries. 1935 was whenever it first came about, and it was one of the last design works of John Moses Browning. He, I believe, actually didn't finish up, he did not see the fruition of his design work. He put a lot of design work into it, but they ended up finishing the design work after he had passed away. And you'll see in the pistol, a lot of the features that you'll see in the 1911. You have the thumb safety down is fire. And then also, of course, you have the single action. I'll show you it's empty. And single action firing sequence, which means that each time that you pull the trigger, the hammer is cocked and away you go again. Like I said, it is a high capacity pistol. It has 13 rounds, which was revolutionary at the time. Now you can get 15 rounders in this too. I haven't gotten one of those yet. I've heard some issues about reliability with that. So at this point I haven't done that. Now this particular pistol is a IDF issue, which I bought off a gun broker from a place called Cole Distributing. They had a lot of different pistols from Israel at the time. They had a slew of these guys, over 100. And I think that there are still some nice ones on there, and very reasonably priced. This one was just about mid-400s. And if you look at it, it's been used some. It's got some wear on some of the parkerizing. It probably wasn't parkerized to begin with, and whenever it went through some sort of arsenaling, probably because the bluing had gotten worn, they parkerized it. It has one thing to look for, actually, one thing that I found that I was looking for. A lot of these pistols have their barrels replaced, which is nothing wrong with that because they replace it with a factory Browning barrel. But you'll see here that we actually have the serial number is right here. If you can see that on the camera, let me get it back here, I think so. Right here below the ejection port, and then right above the ejection port on the barrel itself is the same serial number. Now, you'll of course want them matching. A lot of the ones that were replaced were just electro-penciled, so it doesn't look as nice. It still is functional, but just doesn't look as nice. So I found one that did that had the original barrel. Everything was in good condition. Barrel rifling was excellent in it, and the parkerizing is just worn a little bit. Now, as far as being IDF issue, there is a little symbol right here that is a Hebrew letter. And that'll tell you that it's actually was issued to the IDF. It wasn't a police arm or anything like that, but it was IDF, or Israeli Defense Forces. Now, from what I saw looking over them on the website, it looks like the ones that had the other barrel, or ones that went through a more extensive refurbishing process, would then also have a Star of David somewhere, which I really like the Star of David, and I was trying to look for that, but I didn't find one that had the original barrel, so that's why I came to that conclusion. So a little bit about the pistol itself. Again, it's a 13-round, high capacity. It's the IDF issue, which is kind of cool because it still has a lanyard loop on it. Some people would take that off because it rattles around a little bit, but I kind of like it just because it's cool. You know, you can see that somebody actually carried the thing. We have, let me see here once. How about we do a disassembly? Oh, let me have a look here once. Now the sights on this particular pistol, and you can see there, it has a little indentations for like a probably a white paint or something. But in the reparkerizing process, it looks like that got lost, which isn't a problem. Very nice sights, rather accurate pistol, which later on today I'm hoping to actually get out to the range, and I can take it for a run. I'll take it down here once, just a quick field stripping. Now, I did a review on the Walther and said about how easy that one was to field strip, and this one is too. Maybe, well, just as easy, let's put it that way. It's pretty easy to use. And you see here, where we have the safety here, there's a catch, and then there's a milled out portion in the slide for that to go up, and that holds the slide still. Now, if you rack the slide back, and just with the magazine in so that it actually holds it back, you can take and push the slide just a little bit further, and there's another milled slot there. And that holds the slide back just a little bit further, so it takes the pressure off of the pin that runs all the way through and is also your slide stop. You just push on that with a little bit of pressure, and voila, it comes apart. Carefully, you hold on to your slide and release the safety, and it comes right out. And inside, you can then take a nice look at your pistol. I always like these old pistols because I just think the machining and stuff, they did more work then. They were trying to cut costs, but it just seemed like the design that they came up with at the time just required more work. And as a result, they look really cool. I mean, I love the lock work of the Beretta 92 FS and things like that. But these are just kind of old world, and so they have a certain charm to them all on their own. Let's have a little look at the slide there, and you can see the machining work, underneath the parkerizing, which a lot of people don't like. One thing about these pistols too is that they have a magazine disconnect. Now, a lot of people don't like that. I'm not really keen on it either. What happens is sometimes people, police or military or even civilians that aren't real familiar with the pistols or just are negligent, have a full magazine, have a loaded pistol, and they've got a round in the chamber. So Joe Blow takes his magazine out. Okay, it's safe. Sits it down, somebody else picks it up and pulls the trigger, and boom, somebody gets shot, or at least you scare the heck out of everybody and put a hole in the floor. That would be the best case possibility. Now, so what they did was, to alleviate that problem, make it a bit safer so that somebody wouldn't shoot themselves with what they thought was an unloaded pistol, they made a magazine disconnect. Now, inside here is a little tiny plate on a spring that's attached to the trigger. That little plate pushes against the front of the magazine, right about at that spot right there. If the magazine is not in there, the plate moves further forward or doesn't get pushed in. And this little disconnector thing here goes in a different place, and the pistol does not fire. The trigger just goes, it's because it's pushed up this way and does not actually fire the pistol. So some people actually take out that disconnect, which I don't agree on, because I just think that if somebody ever does get hurt with it, the first thing they're going to ask is, why did the pistol fire with a round in the chamber? But if it's your pistol, you do with it what you like. I would love actually to have a Browning High Power without the disconnect on it from the factory. And if I ever wanted to carry it, I'd have to think about it again, whether or not I wanted to do that. So it's just one of those things that is part of the design, and that's one of the things, with the Browning designed the 1911 and this pistol. There's some things I like better about this pistol. 13 rounds is one of them. One of the things I dislike about the pistol over the 1911, I like the 1911 better, is that it does not have a magazine disconnect safety. So let's put our pistol back together again. Very easy to do. I always think that, thinking about the time that this thing was made, sort of like the Walther PP, to think that, that long ago they were able to do that this good. They didn't have any polymer, like we have for Glock and H&K and everybody else now today. I'll show you what I'm doing here. Putting the barrel in, putting the spring on. You just slide the baby back on here again, pull it back, re-engage the safety in that little slot that we use for the takedown. Take your slide stop lever and slide her back in there. And there you have your Browning Higher Power back together. Remember, you got to put in your magazine to actually drop the hammer. So empty. Take your safety out of the little notch. Okay, that's free to travel now. And you go forward, and you can lower your hammer down nice. And that's it. That's our Browning High Power. Like I said, I'm going to see about going shooting today and take her out to the range and see what we can get. Alrighty, this is Snowball 042. Thank you for watching, and out.